What's up guys, Kudo-kun here. So this is sort of a weird video for me to make, but I don't know, I kind of like these videos where I just sort of talk into a microphone about something. So I figured I'd just make a small video about what I thought about the Nintendo Direct that came out on the 13th. I know it's kind of late, like it's only been 4 days, it hasn't even been a week yet, but in YouTube terms it's been like a millennia since it's actually come out. Regardless, we're going to talk about it anyway, so let's just get to it. So, Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I don't know. It's more Pokemon. Sun and Moon were really good. Black 2 and White 2 were really good, so I expect this to be really good too. Honestly, just adding more story, maybe a few more Pokemon, and of course the new legendaries look pretty cool. All of that's enough to justify a new game, I think. And if we pre-order the digital copy, we get 12 free Quick Balls. Be still my beating heart, Nintendo. Doth your generosity know no bounds. We're also getting digital versions of Gold and Silver, which, I mean, is fine, I guess. See, when they re-released Blue, Red, and Yellow, it made a lot of sense because there's no way to play those on a DS without using some kind of emulator. So, obviously, having downloadable copies made a lot of sense, but for Gold and Silver, you can actually just get the DS version of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, which are far superior to the old games, obviously. Plus, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that they didn't just release Crystal. It doesn't make a lick of sense to me. I mean, they're just ROM files. They should have just given us Crystal. It would even make more sense then, because since we already have remakes of Heart Gold and Soul Silver, anybody who wanted Crystal didn't really get their remake, so they could just download it here, but I don't know. My advice, just find a copy of Heart Gold or Soul Silver for $10 and not get the E version. But, you know, if you get the E version, you do get a special Jirachi, which is fine. My only problem with special Pokemon from the Pokemon Company is either they're so legendary and strong that you can't really use them in competitive play, or their stats are so low that really all you can do with them is put them in a box and sort of look at them once in a while. So collectible Pokemon are kind of eh. Topping it all off, we're going to get a new 2DS pretty soon. It's the Pokeball version. Looks good. Honestly, looks really nice. Not really anything bad to say about it. I was sort of opposed to the idea of getting a new 3DS or 2DS because mine's already hacked, and there weren't really that many options to hacking a new one, so I figured I'd just stick with my old one, especially since it's the Majora's Mask 3DS, which Majora's Mask is one of my favorite games of all time, so I was really hyped to get it. But honestly, the 2DSs look pretty nice. I did hear some pretty bad things about them, but that looks good. I probably wouldn't be opposed to getting it, especially at $149. And I don't really want to be that guy or anything, but there's a special little tool out right now that pretty much lets any DS, 3DS, 2DS get hacked, so it's not really an issue anymore. Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions. This one caught me off guard. I hope it's not full price. That's my only concern right now. It sounds like a really cool idea. I'm definitely going to pick it up so I can play through the Bowser's Minions mode. And Superstar Saga was the first time that I really felt like the Mario and Luigi RPGs really had interesting and new ideas. I'd say that this, Partners in Time, and then maybe Bowser's Inside Story were like really the only Mario RPGs I consider must-plays. I mean, the entire series is decent, but I feel like this is really like the one that I had the most fun with. Kirby Battle Royale. God, I wish it wasn't on the 3DS. Jeez, it's such a missed opportunity. I know Nintendo's doing this thing where like they're trying to split their stuff up between the Switch and the 3DS, but I feel like they're spreading themselves a little thin. If this were on the Switch, I'd be so much more excited for it. Think about it for a second. If this were on the Switch, then you could hand a Joy-Con to somebody else, and then both of you could play. But with it on the 3DS, everybody needs to own a 3DS, and then they all have to buy a copy of the game, which is not good. It's also not going to look as good, and I know they're trying to do like a story mode for it to make it more worthwhile for the purchase, but I don't know. If it's over like $15 or $20, I'm not picking it up for sure. Yokai Watch 2 Psychic Specters. I'm one of the few people who actually really likes Yokai Watch, especially as opposed to Pokemon. I think everything they did with it was really interesting and unique. I like the idea of your sort of yokai partners fighting on their own because it makes it feel more like you're a trainer. Like with the Pokemon thing, you're pretty much playing as the Pokemon, and like the idea of being a Pokemon trainer doesn't really take any sort of effect in battles, but with this you're actually like controlling 6 different monsters and you're spinning a wheel to switch them in and out of battle. I just feel like it's a little more interesting and unique. The only problem I have with Yokai Watch 2 Psychic Specters coming out right now is, I mean, it's up against Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, so it's probably not going to do that well. I hear that the popularity for Yokai Watch is really falling hard in Japan, so Yokai Watch 2 might be the last one we get over here. I know they did a release of Yokai Watch 2 before. It was like Fleshy Spirits or something. I don't know. There was Yokai Watch 2 that came out before, and if you already own Yokai Watch 2, you can update, which is unfortunate for me. I was actually waiting for Psychic Specters to come out before I got into Yokai Watch 2, but turns out if I just picked it up earlier and gotten into Yokai Watch 2 previously, then I could have just updated and got all the new stuff. Kind of excited, but just not a good time for it to be coming out with all the new Pokemon news. Layton's Mysterious Journey. I have a strange sort of fascination with the Layton games. Like, I've only played the first 3 and beaten the first 3. I do have a copy of the 4th one, which I got about halfway through, but I don't know, I just kind of got over it and I stopped playing it. And I've seen somebody playing Miracle Mask, and that looked really good. Like, I get really excited whenever a new Layton game is announced, but I always end up skipping it and not playing it, and from what I hear, Layton's not even in it anymore. Like, it's just his daughter. I guess something happened to him in one of the later games or something. I don't know. I'm not going to spoil it for myself. There is one thing I do know about it, though, and this is a remake of a phone game. And I know this because I was planning on picking the phone game up at some point, but I decided $20 was a bit too much. So I'm a bit worried about the port over, obviously. Kingdom Hearts Recoded, I hate to say it, wasn't a very good game, and it's mainly because it was a port of a phone game, so yeah, that ends. The original game on the phone was $20. I know they're going to bump this up to $40 or $50, which I'm also extremely worried about, so we'll see. Definitely not going to pick it up first day, of course, but I could get it at some point. Like, the main character is pretty adorable, and I am, for whatever reason, excited about a new Layton journey. Minecraft on the 3DS. I know we all have to pretend to be excited about this, but is anybody honestly going to pick this up for their 3DS? I mean, I'm not a Minecraft hater or anything. It's fine, and I can see the appeal of having it be portable, but isn't Minecraft on the Switch? And if it's not on the Switch, it's probably coming out for the Switch at some point. I really don't see a point in this. I think they're really reaching in the dark for this one. Mario Party Top 100. I get that the Mario Party minigames are pretty fun, but I just can't see myself picking this up and enjoying it. If this were on the Switch, then again, you could hand Joy-Cons to everyone and everybody could play through the minigames while you're on the go or something, and it could be pretty fun that way. But honestly, to me, the whole fun of the Mario Party minigames was you were beating everybody in a small bite-sized, like 2-3 minute challenge, and then taking that victory onto the board to get an advantage to actually win the map. And yeah, you know, playing a bunch of minigames on their own aren't really that interesting to me. It's more about playing the minigames, getting something from the minigames, and then using it in the actual game to get an advantage over everybody else. If you're really into just the minigames with no payoff, then this is fine, but I'm not really that interested. I will give them some credit, though. The fact that you can get one copy of this and then have everybody else download play does help a little bit, but again, if you have friends that don't have 3DSs, it's not really that useful. It would have been way better on the Switch. It's going to come to the Switch at some point, mark my words. Metroid Samus Returns. I picked this game up, actually. I got it not on release day, but I think like the day after release day, and I've been playing it, and it's pretty darn good, actually. You may be surprised to hear this, but this was actually my very first ever Metroid game, and I enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm at a bit of a disadvantage because my X button is really finicky. It only works like 1 out of every 3 presses, and I can't take my system apart to fix it because one of the screws is jammed or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter. My X button doesn't work that well, and you really kind of need the X button to get through the game, so that's kind of hindering me a little bit. But I have gotten to the 3rd area, and it's a lot harder than I expected it to be. Probably going to do a full review of it at some point, but I can just say highly recommended. It was a very, very good game, and you know, this coming from somebody who this is their first Metroid game, it's a really good game. Atlus released a bunch of new news about stuff, like Strange Journey Redux, which is fine, I guess, if you're into that kind of thing. Something called Alliance Alive that I've never heard of, which is like a take on old JRPGs, which I don't know. I love old JRPGs, and I liked at first the idea of them going back and redoing all of these old JRPGs, but it feels like it's sort of the crutch that Square Enix, Atlus, and NIS America are sort of falling on, so they don't have to make very graphics intensive games. There's nothing wrong with the idea, I just feel like it's getting run into the ground a little bit. I wish there would be more sort of innovations in JRPGs rather than continuing to make old style, quote unquote old style RPGs and saying, look, one of the appeals of this game is that it looks so retro. Etrian Odyssey 5. Etrian Odyssey is completely fine. It's a good game series. I don't know if I'll pick up the 5th one anytime soon, but it's definitely something worth being excited for if you're into that. But, ladies and gentlemen, they have announced Radiant Historia remake for 3DS. Now, listen to me on this, okay? If you're a fan of JRPGs, you will listen to what I have to say. Radiant Historia was one of the best games in the DS library, and nobody bought it or played it. Most people didn't even hear about it. Like, I heard about it really randomly. I think I found the cartridge, like, at a garage sale or something. I don't know. I heard about it somewhere. I picked it up, and I am telling you guys, if you have not played this game and you consider yourself a JRPG fan, you need to support this re-release. When it comes out, there's going to be some kind of like first day order nonsense where it comes with an art book and stuff. So just go get it on release day because it is definitely worth your time. Radiant Historia is one of the finest JRPGs that I've ever played, and I'm very excited about the re-release. On a scale of 1 to The World Ends With You, I'd give it like an 8.5, and that's really, really high. Apollo Justice for 3DS, I mean, this is sort of an unpopular opinion, I guess, but Apollo Justice is one of the best games in the Phoenix Wright series, so I guess it's cool. I'm not going to pick it up, but if you happen to miss it because it looked kind of lame, pick it up this time, because it honestly is one of the best games in the series. Fire Emblem Warriors for the 3DS, and holy cow, are you guys seeing this? Look at the pixelation on Chrome's sword there. That looks horrible. Listen to me, guys. So, Hyrule Warriors was a great game. Hyrule Warriors Legends was a better game because for $40 you could get everything that was in Hyrule Warriors, including all the DLC and all the maps and just all of the little bonuses and stuff, plus new content. So it was pretty much the best possible way they could do a remake for the 3DS. And it also had the novelty of being portable. The Switch is already portable, and let me tell you, it's going to look much, much, much better than this in handheld mode. If they're being released at the same time, they're going to have the exact same content too. There's no reason for this to exist, and I hope nobody buys it. The only time you should ever buy this game is if you don't already own a Switch. And even then, if you own a 3DS and you buy this for the 3DS, and then some point, like 3 months later, you happen to get a Switch, you're going to want this on the Switch, okay? You're going to want to dock it and play it on your TV. You're going to want the better graphics. It's probably even going to have slightly better multiplayer, because I imagine this is going to have some kind of multiplayer like Hyrule Warriors Legends, where you could give somebody else a controller and then play 2-player. You're going to want this on the Switch, is what I'm trying to say. Don't get this on the 3DS. That looks horrible. Do not pick this up on the 3DS. We're also getting the Creamsicle 2DS, which is, I don't know, it's smooth. It's definitely not as cool as the Pokeball 3DS, but if you're into that kind of thing, I guess it's there. It's only going to be $150. You might as well, I guess. And again, if you're worried about your 3DS or 2DS not being hackable, you might want to do some searches online. That's not really a problem anymore. So getting on some real Switch news, we started off with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which, gotta be honest with you guys, I'm not quite as excited for this game as I was before. Still excited, still gonna pick it up, but the more I see on it, the less interested I am in it, because the original Xenoblade Chronicles was sort of like, it wasn't exactly an adult story, but it was a pretty serious RPG about sort of being able to see the future and then like having to find ways to prevent like these awful things from happening. And it looks like that's not really going to be something here. It looks like it's just going to be a really basic RPG, like a Tales game or something, which is fine, I guess, whatever. One of the things that really surprises me when I watch other people's news about this is, like, when they announce that all of the Titans are going to be, like, their own cities and stuff, everybody gets so excited about it. Which sort of brings home for me the fact that nobody really played Xenoblade Chronicles. Like, all these people, even people who are claiming to be fans of Xenoblade Chronicles, are surprised about the fact that you're traveling on the backs of these Titans, and the Titans make up the worlds. Literally all of Xenoblade Chronicles is about the entire world taking place on the back of a Titan. All of the areas are named after Titans' body parts, and the whole story is the Bionis versus the Mechanus, which is like a Titan full of like machine monsters and stuff coming over and messing with the humans and like the sort of biological life on the Bionis. I know this sounds like a really weird thing to nitpick. Like, okay, obviously not everybody out there has played every game, so I can't expect everybody to know what happened in Xenoblade Chronicles 1, but it's just one of those things where it's like, oh my gosh, did you guys hear the new Legend of Zelda's coming out? They're gonna have this grappling hook, right? And they're calling it the hook shot, I guess, and it's gonna be so sick, because if you aim it at something that's wooden and you push a button, you actually grapple onto it. This is gonna open up so many more movement options for the Legend of Zelda series. Like, come on. It's just sort of an indicator that nobody's actually really that into the series, but hopefully this sort of gets some people into it, because it is a pretty darn good series. Maybe not start with this one, though. If you can find a cheap copy of Xenoblade Chronicles, or if you can use a bit of internet magic to play Xenoblade Chronicles somehow, however you feel like, Dolphin's a pretty good way, then I recommend doing that first, because I don't think this game's going to be that impressive compared to its predecessors. Battle system looks fine though, I guess. Even battle system looks a little bit simplified, because you can switch between these like different back row characters. Like, you have 3 front rows that are actually like out there attacking, and then 3 back rows that sort of give you powers based on what kind of, I don't know, person you give them. I don't know. It all sounds a little bit convoluted. It sounds like it could work, but it just doesn't sound like it's going to be quite as flowy, I guess you could say, as Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade X. Spending a lot of time on this. Long story short, it does look like it's going to be good. I'm getting a little less hype for it because the story looks kind of iffy, and the characters don't look as interesting as I thought they were going to be, but it's still going to be worth my while, I suppose. Splatoon 2 updates, I really don't care, guys. I haven't picked up Splatoon 2 because, like, the day that I pick up a $60 multiplayer-only game, really, don't come to me with all the single-player stuff. The single-player stuff doesn't look that interesting. It's pretty much going to be a $60 multiplayer game, and I'm not paying $60 for it. That's just your answer there. If they lower it to like $30, then I might pick it up, since I sort of aim to own all of the games on the Switch at some point anyways. But yeah, I just don't really care. Whenever I want to play Splatoon, I don't really have a problem hooking up my Wii U and just playing some Splatoon. To anybody who doesn't know if there's still like a community for it, most of the community is people in China and Korea, but the community's still there. Like, I don't really have a problem finding games, so I haven't picked up Splatoon 2 for the Switch yet. But if you're into Splatoon 2, then new maps and stuff, so there you go. Big Fire Emblem Warriors update. Turns out Lynn is going to be a playable character, which, I mean, everybody kind of expected. I don't really want to be that guy or anything, but everybody knew Lynn was going to be in Fire Emblem Warriors. She's one of the most popular characters. Everybody loves Lynn. She's like, what, top 3 waifus in the entire series or something? I think she's only really behind, like, who is it? Probably Robin and Corrin, like the main characters. Anyways, oh, or Lucina. Yeah, Lucina probably, I'd say like Lucina and Corrin, and then Robin's right below Lynn. It doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter. Let's stop talking about it. Kind of expected Lynn to be in it, although I will admit I expected Lynn to be a DLC character after the game had been released. I expected they would do a DLC thing where like they would bring characters in who weren't from Awakening or Fates, or what was the other one? I think it's just Awakening and Fates, right? Yeah, Awakening, Fates, and then Marth from the original Fire Emblem. So I expected that they would just stick there and then have DLC lots where they would release like 2 or 3 characters at a time from other Fire Emblem games, like Ike and Roy and all of them. But they're doing it this way. Next up, we're probably going to be getting some news of somebody from Shadows of Valencia being in the game. The main characters' names are escaping me right now, which I feel really bad about because I loved the game. But when we get another update about new characters, mark my words, it'll be characters from Shadows of Valencia. Snipperclips Plus, this is pretty cool. They're doing this thing where if you already own Snipperclips, you can just sort of download like a DLC pack with all the new stuff. I don't own it. I did download the demo, and my girlfriend and I got really into it, so I wanted to pick it up, but chances are now I'm just going to wait until this sort of drops so I can pick it up instead. But good. Yeah, I think this is awesome. Morphies Law. Wow, this one really caught me by surprise. I was not expecting them to introduce a sort of red versus blue team-based shooter because they already had Splatoon going, but this looks pretty darn good. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty excited to pick it up. My only concern is what I'd really like Nintendo to do is release a sort of single-player shooter. Like, I know they're probably not going to because of the whole, like, working together as a team thing and Nintendo being really sort of friendship-building based, but I wish they would release a single-player shooter. I think that'd be pretty awesome. But let's talk about Morphies Law. Pretty much you shoot people, and wherever you shoot them, you sort of, like, steal mass from that body part and then use it to expand your own mass. And then both teams have sort of like a giant inflatable balloon Titan thing behind them, and your goal is to steal enough mass to give to your Titan to make it bigger than your opponent. Make it bigger than your opponent's Titan. Sorry about that, I'm sort of misspeaking. But anyways, yeah, it looks really fun. It looks nice. It looks like something I can get into more than Splatoon, so yeah, can't wait to pick it up. Speaking of new and innovative ideas, Rocket League is coming to the Switch. It's fine. I'll probably pick it up at some point. I hope that it's not more than like $15. I think $15 is my absolute limit for this game. Would not pick it up for $1 more. I don't know. I don't know what it would take to make me buy Rocket League for the Switch. I think it just would control so much better on a PC. I will say, though, that one advantage that the Switch has that, again, is always going to be an advantage is if it has sort of couch co-op where you can take the Joy-Cons and hand one to somebody else. Like, there's not really that many controls in Rocket League, is there? Like, you can probably handle it with one Joy-Con. So yeah, if you can partner up with somebody else using the Joy-Cons, then this will be a pretty great thing, especially since you can play it on the go. Don't know how well that would work with 2 people trying to stare at this tiny screen playing Rocket Soccer. But it's definitely something I would check out for the right price. Arena of Valor. I cannot explain this, but I feel like this game is going to be a huge hit. Again, this is just gamer's intuition. I have nothing to base this on, but I actually feel like Arena of Valor is going to be a huge hit with the Switch community, and it's actually going to have a pretty sizable fan base. I'd like to see them just sell this game. Like, I know a lot of people are probably going to look at something like this and say, oh, that's definitely going to be a free-to-play game where you can just buy individual characters as they come out. I'm hoping what they do is they just sell the game for like $20, and then, you know, let us have all the characters. Or if they do make it free to play, offer something where you can just pay one $20 or $30 fee and then just get all the content so you don't have to buy stuff individually. If they do it as a free-to-play game, that'll be fine too. It'll probably bring in sort of a bigger fan base, but I'm really excited for this. Again, I can't explain why, but I just feel like this game is going to be a lot of fun. And I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, but Kudo, it's just a League of Legends ripoff. Who cares about League of Legends ripoffs?" I mean, I really hate to tell you guys this, but League of Legends came out forever ago, and there are much better League of Legends clones out there than League of Legends itself. Have you heard of Heroes of the Storm? Of course you haven't. Skyrim on the Switch. Cool. I really don't know how much time I'll invest into it. If I had heard about this like a year ago, I think I would have been much more excited for it. Or rather, if it had been like a Switch release game, I think I would have picked it up like day one. But my main problem right now is there's no way this is going to have the same mod support as you can get on the PC. And I mean, I hate to say this, guys, but you play with mods long enough and you get a little spoiled, if you know what I'm saying. DLC quests, custom weapons, things that fix up the interface, and specific body mods for certain characters. Definitely going to get the Switch version of Skyrim at some point, but it'll probably be more of a collector's item than a game that I actually invest time into. Doom's coming to the Nintendo Switch. This is great. This is exactly what it needs right now. A very serious, sort of gory shoot 'em up that, you know, you can just sort of take on the go, pull it out, play a level on hard or something, relieve a little bit of stress. This sounds perfect. Very excited to play Doom on the Switch. Wolfenstein 2, could not care less about. Absolutely no interest in playing Wolfenstein. Doom, yes. Wolfenstein, no. Will only pick it up if it's on sale or something so I can put it as part of my collection. This doesn't really address the problem of there not being any good, like, multiplayer shooter games on the Switch, but it's a step in the right direction at least. New update to Flip Wars. I don't know about you guys, but Flip Wars is a $10 game about flipping over squares. And that's it. Just making white colored squares, your color squares, and then flipping over your opponent's squares. I wouldn't pay $10 for it. I don't care how free the updates are. So this isn't really for me. Arcade Archives, I mean, again, it's fine. You know, it's a cool idea to have a Joy-Con and, you know, hand one Joy-Con to somebody else and play these old arcade games, but I mean, I know I can't speak for everybody out there, but I'm kind of tired of these arcade games. I can just plug 2 controllers in and play them on my computer. Every device that I own is modded to play emulators that can play these games already. At some point, the Switch itself will be modded in a way that you can play emulators on it. We're just crossing our fingers and waiting for the day. So, I just don't see this game having much longevity. It's an interesting idea, but it's just not interesting right now. Breath of the Wild's getting champion amiibos. Should have had it forever ago. I think they sort of spread them out to here to keep interest in Breath of the Wild alive until the final update comes out with the new story and the new stuff to do. I couldn't care less. I sort of gave up on collecting amiibos about 20 amiibos in, so honestly, they don't even look that good. I mean, I guess Rivali looks good because, you know, Rivali is the best girl in Breath of the Wild. I don't care if you disagree. Urabosa might look nice too if we could actually see her face, but they have her turned around, which does not bode well. The only reason that would be acceptable to me is if, like, she just has this huge, massive rack that they just can't show anybody because they know kids would be watching. Don't think that's going to be the case, though, so I don't know if it looks that good. Mipha looks awful. Like, I'm really sorry if you're into the Zora lady, but if you close up on her face, like, her face looks horrible. It looks like this pancake that somebody, like, used strawberry syrup to draw her face in, and it just doesn't look good at all. Bunch of competitive sports games and Pokken Tournament are coming out soon. This shouldn't have come as a surprise to anybody, but I don't care about sports games at all. I will only pick them up for like $1 to complete my Switch collection. Probably will never even put them into my system because I don't want them downloading updates and stuff. But Pokken Tournament I'm excited for, of course. I still go back and play it every once in a while on my Wii U. I think that this sort of update is very acceptable from the Wii U version because they're adding a bunch of new characters, hopefully a bunch of new modes in the single player to make it last a little bit longer. And of course, the idea of handing off a Joy-Con to somebody, and then both you and your buddy playing this anywhere you go, sounds pretty awesome. So Pokken, yes. Any other sports game, no. Couldn't care less. Octopath Traveller. Everything they showed was amazing. This was a really good showing of what Octopath Traveller is going to bring to the table. It seems like they're sort of bravely defaulting Final Fantasy Tactics. Like, if you don't know what I mean by that, it seems like they're sort of trying to reboot this more serious Final Fantasy Tactics storyline into sort of modern day JRPG status. It's not a tactical game, so I guess it's not a hugely apt description, but it seems pretty close. Now, here's my problem. They actually released the demo of this not long after the Direct. So I downloaded it, spent about 2.5 to 3 hours playing it. A little less excited. The story for one of the characters you can play as, Primrose, really isn't that interesting. Like, it plays out pretty much exactly how you expect it to. The battle system is serviceable. It's nowhere near as exciting as they try and make it look in the trailers and stuff. The battle system is very, very basic. The idea is every turn you get 1 BP, just like the Brave points in Bravely Default. Another, sort of nod to Bravely Default there. You get this BP, and then you can spend BP to power up your attacks or attack more than once. Certain characters have weaknesses, and if you attack with a character's weakness a certain number of times, you cause a break where they're stunned for a turn, and you get a free turn to deal like massive damage to them. So really it's just about injecting enough BP into your attacks to stumble your opponent, and then injecting a bunch of BP into a huge powerful attack to really damage them. It's okay, like I said before, it's definitely a serviceable battle system. It's just not quite as thrilling as they would have you believe. The boss fights in the demo weren't too bad, but it's not really one of those games that I think grinding is going to be that much fun in. But hey, I don't want to talk too much about it because, not only is the demo out so you guys can play it by yourselves, but I sort of want to talk about the demo at some point, and I'll sort of save all of my interesting points for that. There's only one thing I really want to bring up here, and that's the YouTube community. Oh boy, the virtue signalers were out on this one. So this is something everybody's bringing up. The female character you can play as, Primrose, she has a special ability. All characters in the game have a special ability that only they can use, and Primrose, because she's a dancer, she was raised in like this place where like everybody dances and gets tipped. It's kind of like a strip joint, but like a really RPG-ish strip joint. So her ability is she can charm guys into following her into battle, and then she can summon them, and then they help her fight. I want to point out a few things here. First of all, I absolutely love the sort of double standard here, and I don't think anybody on YouTube's really realized it yet. Everybody's coming out of the woodworks to say, "Oh my God, Primrose's ability is, she can charm men. That's so sexist. This game is so not progressive." And nobody's bringing up the fact that Olbrig's ability, the male character you can play as, his ability is you can pick a fight with anybody in the game. It's this really delicious double standard. Everybody is coming out and saying, "Oh my God, what's happening to Primrose is just horrible. It's so sexist." They would go with this fact that the female character can charm men to follow her into battle. That's so sexist. But nobody is bringing up the fact that a guy with a giant sword that goes around solving all of his problems by just picking fights with people in sort of like a meathead brutish fashion is also kind of stereotypically sexist against men. I'm not like a meninist or anything. Like, honestly, I don't care either way, but I do think it's funny that when people see sort of like a female character following a stereotype and then a male character following a stereotype on the other end of the spectrum, the only one we can really see right now is the female stereotype. Oh, it's just something fun to think about. And the second thing I want to bring up is the sort of language that everybody's using when they talk about this is sort of how to say, it's not 100% truthful, because everybody's saying like, oh, her only ability is charming guys, and like that's all she does, which isn't true at all. She's an RPG character. She's out there on the front lines. She's the one doing all the battling. She's at the head of all of the fights. The only thing that the people that she gets to follow her do is like they come in and they help you for like 2 or 3 turns. It's not like she's like playing the damsel in distress where she's convincing guys to follow her and then like throwing the guys out there to defend her honor because she's just too weak and fragile to fight for herself. She's way stronger than any of the guys in the game, let me tell you. So yeah, I know that was kind of a rant. It just really kind of bothers me that everybody's getting so up in arms about this because it's so like unprogressive, but nobody's actually putting thought into it. It's just like they see a female character following a female stereotype and like they just have to stand up and defend her because, oh, it's so awful that a female is being portrayed this way. Lighten up, guys. It's really not that bad. New ARMS update. Haven't picked this game up yet either, for the same reasons as Splatoon, but I will admit I am very tempted to buy this game at $60 because I played the test punch they had a little while back, and I absolutely loved this game. I thought it was a lot of fun to play, and I think it would be pretty fun to go and sort of try to climb the leaderboards and try to really get good at this game. So I am interested in picking it up. However, I am not interested in this update really at all. The new character, Lollipop, I think is her name, she doesn't really appeal to me. Like, she's just like a clown character. Like, it's very inventive. I'm sure somebody out there somewhere found their new waifu, but, you know, I'm sort of a ribbon girl for life, y'all. Ribbon girl and then Twintel if that ever fell through. Although the mech girl's pretty cute, too. It doesn't matter. No matter how you place it, Lola's sort of at the bottom of the waifu tier for me. I'm definitely not interested in this update at all, but I am interested in the game. Dragon Quest Builders. This caught me off guard. I actually expected news on Dragon Quest Heroes before we ever got something on Builders. I think I heard somewhere that this was going to happen, so it wasn't like 100% of a surprise, because I had a feeling we were going to get it on the Switch at some point, but I am surprised that they're bringing this out before they brought out news on Dragon Quest Heroes. Like, Heroes is on the Japanese shop with a demo. Downloaded the demo. Demo plays fine. Like, it looks fine. It plays fine. I really don't know what their issue is other than like getting the voice actors to come in and take care of it. But you know, even then, like, have the voice actors and stuff. Like, they have all the voice files for the PS4 version. Don't know why they're not just bringing that over. Anyways, I digress. The point I'm trying to make here is Dragon Quest Builders is a game that I'm excited for. I know it was on the Vita, and I was planning on picking it up for the Vita at some point, and I never did. I think I went to pick it up once, and nobody just had it, and it just went everywhere. Nobody had it, and I didn't feel like downloading it. So I am excited to pick this game up for the Switch. I think this is going to be great. I think anybody who's still interested in just really regular games like Minecraft and Terraria, when there are games like this out there, is kind of a shame. And I'm excited to see what new features and stuff they bring to the Switch version. It's going to be good times. Kirby Star Allies. Yes. Yes. This is what I'm talking about. Bring these games to the Switch. Keep them off of the 3DS. I have one Joy-Con for me, one Joy-Con for Milady, and we can go through this game 2-player and have a blast. It's going to be pretty fun. I know people are kind of getting tired of Kirby. Like, one of the sort of running jokes in the YouTuber community, I guess, or like the Nintendo tuber community, I guess you would call it. Doesn't matter. One of the running jokes is that they always have to talk about something Kirby related, which I'm not opposed to. I love Kirby to death. But this is probably the most interesting bit of Kirby news we've gotten in a while, because they're bringing Kirby to the Switch. It looks great. It's got really exciting gameplay if you're into like the Kirby series, because it looks like it's going back to something closer to Kirby 64 and the Crystal Shards, where you can actually combine powers to make new powers. That was the entire thing that made Kirby 64 stand out, was combining powers. Do you guys remember combining Cutter with like anything else? That was awesome. Very excited for this. The only thing that bothers me about this is it doesn't look like you can play as 2 Kirbys, which I would have preferred. I think that would have been awesome. It just kind of looks Superstar-ish, where like the first player plays as Kirby, and then, you know, your friends are stuck playing as whatever followers you find. It's still okay. All right, I'm still okay with it. Very excited to see this on the Switch and not the 3DS. A bunch of indie games were announced for the Switch, and you know, if you're into the indie games, if you support the developers by buying these indie games, good for you. That's very noble. I very much I very much respect that, but I'm not really that interested in indie games. Like, I know I'm sort of one of those normies that the PC crowd tries to stay away from. Like, oh gosh, he only likes AAA titles. He's missing out on all the fun we're having with our indie games. I'm not opposed to indie games per se, but you know, I find in my adult life, as many do, I'm 26 years old now, I don't really have much time to devote to all the different games I want to play, especially because I get so heavily invested into RPGs that normally take like 20, 30, 40, 50 hours to complete. So, like, I just don't really have an interest in indie games that, like, you sort of pick up, you play for a few minutes, and you put down, because if I have that kind of time, I'd rather just put it into something else. But yeah, I mean, like I said before, if you're into indie games, they're going to be here on the Switch. They're probably going to bring over a bunch more indie games over these next few coming months. So it's there for you if you like it. If any of them look good, then I'll probably pick them up. Plan on picking up Super Meat Boy Forever because I didn't get a chance to play Super Meat Boy. Lost Sphear, which, I mean, it doesn't look awful. It looks okay. Sort of a classic JRPG, because we don't have enough of those yet. It looks fine. I'll probably get it at some point. Sonic Forces coming out soon, and I need to tell you a secret. All right, come here, get real close, okay? Even closer. All right, this is important. Sonic Generations was better than Sonic Mania, and I know. I'm sorry. The truth hurts sometimes. It's just something we have to come to accept. I don't know if this game will live up to Sonic Mania or Sonic Generations. I just wanted to let you guys know that I am much more interested in this game than I was for Sonic Mania. Not to say that Sonic Mania is a bad game. Sonic Mania was an amazing game, okay? For $20, the game's a steal. The game was easily worth $40 or possibly even $50. It was a very well-made game, especially considering the sort of resources that went into it and the circumstances under which it was made. Sonic Mania really blew me away for what it was. Sonic Generations was just better, so I'm more excited to see a follow-up to that than the original trilogy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Please don't unsubscribe. So, what else do we have here? Resident Evil Revelations coming out. Played the first one, really liked it. Excited to play the second one. Again, really excited to see sort of more serious games coming to the Switch. LA Noire coming out for the Switch. You guys might have expected this, but detective game coming to the Switch. I gotta play it. I do own the game for the PS3, and I did love the game for the PS3. More than happy to play the game for the Switch. Am I bothered about the fact that it's going to be $10 more than the other versions? Yeah, a little bit, but luckily this game's only going to be $50 still. Like, still going to be $10 less than a new Switch game. So it doesn't bother me that much. Like, if the game were coming out for $69.99, I think I'd be more bothered by it, but $49.99 is okay. The last bit of big news we got was Mario Odyssey. I mean, what can I say that hasn't been said already? The game looks amazing. Really can't wait to play it. I do feel like they are giving up a bit too much information on it. Kind of wish they would slow down on that a bit. Maybe just talk about the hub world more, or maybe just show shorter trailers with less of the worlds in it, because I would like them to keep a lot of it under wraps, but they are saying that they're not spoiling everything in the game, so that's a plus. I just hope they're not spoiling like 90% of the game, because that's not much better. I'll keep it relatively short here because like everybody knows that Mario Odyssey is going to be good, so there's not much you can really say about it. I'm excited for it. I hope everybody else is excited for it. Can't wait to pick it up. What I will talk a bit about, though, is the Nintendo You Devils, the Super Mario Odyssey Switch bundle coming out. Am I a little bit salty that I just got my Switch and they're already releasing a bundle that comes with a game and special controllers? Yeah, a little bit. But at the same time, I don't feel too cheated. Like, it's actually kind of amazing to me that they're not doing more with it. They're not doing anything with the actual controller holder thing that you put the Joy-Cons into. The case looks okay, but nothing special, and they're not doing anything with the dock. Plus, we already have red Joy-Cons. They really couldn't put a Mario hat symbol in the corner or something. That's a little weird. But alas, this is going to make Switches a bit more available. I want everybody in the world to get a Switch, so the more Switches that are out there, the easier that'll be. So I can't really complain about it too much. I will also say that the game being a download code rather than an actual cartridge, well, that's... Ooh, Nintendo, you're even sneakier than I thought you were, because that is awful. Mario Odyssey is going to be huge. If you get this bundle and you don't have an SD card, or if you have an SD card that's like 32 gigs, you're in some trouble. I'd say that the game alone is going to be around 10 gigs, and all the downloads and stuff for it, oh man, the patches. This game is going to take up at least 22 gigs, like, and that's minimum. So if you are stuck with the bundle, sorry about your huge download, kids, but it's just kind of the lot we were given in life, I suppose. Whew, and my voice is going out. I think that's about all we have for today. For anybody who couldn't tell, I am a little bit sick. Not so hugely sick, like I am still going to be able to make videos, but my throat's a little bit sore. As far as the Direct goes, it was okay. It brought some pretty neat stuff up. We're still not getting anything huge. No Super Smash Bros. Updates still, so guessing they're not going to announce that until January. If anybody doesn't think they're going to port Super Smash Bros. To the Switch, you're kidding yourselves. They didn't even really give Smash Bros. An extra title like Melee or Brawl, so they could really easily bring it over and just call it like Smash Switch. And that thing's going to print money for the system. I seriously think they're just waiting so they can add like one new character and a new stage to it, and that's it. No GameCube games for the eShop, which of course not expecting yet. Next year though, there will be GameCube games up on the eShop. And that's about it. If you enjoyed the video, please leave it a like. Those things really do help us out. If this is something that you enjoy me doing, me just talking about news and stuff, leave it in the comment section below so I know, because I do enjoy making these videos. And if you enjoy listening to the videos, then I'd be more than happy to make more, maybe do all the Nintendo Directs from now on. And finally, if you found this video by accident, then subscribe to stay up to date on the latest Kudo news. Have a good night, everybody.